Do you want people to understand you, to listen to you, and to feel your presence in every situation? To feel like you are in control no matter what is happening around you, because that is what most people secretly want. Control over themselves, control over their reactions, control over their life. But here is the problem. Most people cannot even control their own emotions. And if you cannot control your emotions, you cannot control your life. That is not motivation, that is reality. And today you are going to understand the truth about emotional intelligence and social skills, not in a soft, comfortable way, but in a real, direct, and powerful way that forces you to look at yourself honestly, because everything starts from within. Your biggest enemy is not another person. It is not your situation. It is not your luck. Your biggest enemy is your own uncontrolled emotions. The anger that makes you say things you later regret. The fear that makes you step back when you should move forward. The overthinking that drains your energy and keeps you stuck. These emotions feel normal, and they are normal. Everyone experiences them, but the difference between weak and strong people is not the absence of emotions. It is control over them. Weak people are controlled by their emotions. Strong people control their emotions, and that difference changes everything. When someone insults you and you react instantly, you are not in control. When a situation goes wrong and you panic, you are not in control. Control belongs to the person who can stay calm in chaos, who can think clearly under pressure, who can choose their response instead of being dragged by their reaction, because there is a powerful difference between reacting and responding. Reaction is emotional, impulsive, and often leads to regret. Response is controlled, calculated, and powerful, and most people never learn this difference, which is why most people stay average, stuck in the same patterns, repeating the same mistakes, living the same limited life. Now understand this clearly. Your emotions can either become your greatest strength or your biggest weakness. It depends on who is in control, you or them. When you learn to stay calm even when you are angry, when you learn to take action even when you are afraid, when you learn to think clearly even under pressure, you become mentally dangerous. Not in a negative way, but in a powerful way. Because at that point, no one can easily manipulate you. No one can trigger you. No one can control you. And that is real power. The kind of power that comes from awareness, not force. Because the truth is, people do not make decisions purely based on logic. They make decisions based on emotions and then justify them with logic. So if you do not understand your own emotions, you will never understand others. And if you do not understand others, you will never influence anyone. So if you want respect, if you want control, if you want to grow, you must start with one simple rule. Feel everything, but react to nothing until you think. That is where emotional intelligence begins. And that is where your transformation starts. Now let us go deeper, because understanding your emotions starts with self-awareness. And here is a harsh truth. Your life is stuck not because of the world, but because you do not understand yourself. You are busy trying to understand others, trying to figure out situations, trying to predict outcomes, but you have no clarity about what is happening inside your own mind. Self-awareness is not a luxury. It is a survival skill. When you feel anger, jealousy, insecurity, what do you usually do? You ignore it. You distract yourself or you blame someone else. But have you ever stopped and asked yourself, why am I feeling this way? That one question separates average people from powerful people. Weak people run away from their emotions. Strong people face them. When you feel anger, is the other person really the problem, or is your ego hurt? When you feel jealousy, is the other person lucky, or are you frustrated with your own progress? When you feel insecure, is the situation truly dangerous, or is your confidence weak? Most of the time, the problem is not outside, it is inside. And until you recognize that, nothing will change. Self-awareness means observing your thoughts, labeling your emotions, and understanding your patterns, because your life is not random, it is a reflection of your repeated patterns. You keep making the same mistakes because you never stop to analyze yourself. You react without thinking, you decide without clarity, and then you blame others. But the truth is uncomfortable. You are the root of most of your problems, and accepting that is painful, but it is also the beginning of growth. So from now on, when you feel a strong emotion, do not react immediately. Do not escape. Do not distract yourself. Pause and observe. Ask yourself, where is this coming from? What is the real reason? Is this logical, or is this just fear? This simple habit will change the way you think. Because once you understand yourself, understanding others becomes easier. Once you know your weaknesses, no one can use them against you. Once you know your triggers, no one can control you. And that is real power, the kind of power that removes your need for validation. Because you are no longer dependent on others to feel secure. You understand yourself, and that clarity becomes your foundation. Now let us move to emotional control, because awareness without control is useless. Here is another harsh truth. Your life is not in control because you are not in control. You blame situations, you blame people, but the real issue is your reaction. Strong people do not react, they respond, and that one difference changes everything. Reaction is instant anger, impulsive words, decisions made without thinking, followed by regret. Response is pause, thought, and controlled action. Now ask yourself honestly, which one do you do more often when someone disrespects you? Do you explode instantly? When things go wrong, do you panic? If yes, then you are still a slave to your emotions, and slaves can never be powerful. Understand this clearly. The world will test you. People will provoke you. Situations will try to break you, but if you control yourself, no one can control you. And that is emotional control. One simple rule. Pause is power. The next time you feel anger, do not react instantly. Pause for a few seconds. Take a deep breath. It sounds simple, but those few seconds can save you from your biggest mistakes. Because in that pause, you shift from emotion to logic, from chaos to control, from weakness to strength. Weak people react to everything. They get triggered easily. They waste energy. Strong people observe, understand, and then act with intention. They do not fight every battle. They choose only the ones that matter. That is what makes them different. Emotional control does not mean you stop feeling emotions. It means emotions do not control your actions. You can feel anger without acting angry. You can feel fear without stopping. You can feel pressure without breaking. That is real strength, the kind of strength that cannot be shaken easily. So set one rule in your life. I do not react. I respond. It will be difficult at first. You will fail. You will slip back into old patterns. But with consistency, your mind will change. Your decisions will improve. Your presence will become stronger, and people will start noticing. They will see your calmness, your control, your clarity, and they will think twice before trying to provoke you, because you are no longer easy to influence. Now let us move to social skills, because understanding yourself is only half the journey. Understanding people is the other half. And here is something important. People rarely say what they truly feel. If you only listen to words, you will misunderstand most situations because communication is not just about words. It is mostly about emotions, tone, and body language. But the problem is you listen less and assume more. Someone says, I am fine, but are they really fine? Someone smiles, but are they genuinely happy or hiding something? If you cannot answer that, you are not reading people. You are just seeing the surface. Strong people go deeper. They observe body language, eye contact, posture, movement. They notice tone, whether the voice is steady or nervous, calm or aggressive, because while words can lie, tone and body language rarely do. And this is where real social power begins. Average people listen. Powerful people understand. And when you start understanding people, your conversations change. Your relationships become stronger. Your influence increases naturally. Because every human wants to feel understood. But very few people truly understand others. So when you do, you stand out instantly. People trust you more. They feel comfortable around you. They listen to you, and that is social power. But remember, understanding is not judging. Judging closes your mind. Understanding opens it. Now let us talk about empathy, because this is where connection becomes real. Empathy is not sympathy. Empathy is feeling sorry from a distance. Empathy is putting yourself in someone else's position and feeling what they feel, asking yourself, if I were in their place, how would I feel? That shift changes everything. Because people are not impressed by how smart you are. They connect with how well you understand them. They may forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And that is what builds connection. When you truly listen without interrupting, without judging, without trying to prove yourself, people open up. They feel safe. They feel heard. And that emotional connection builds trust. And trust is the foundation of influence. Because without trust, no one follows you. No one listens deeply. No one takes your words seriously. So the next time someone shares something with you, do not rush to give advice. Do not interrupt. Listen fully. Understand first. Respond later. Because sometimes people do not need solutions. They just need someone who understands them. And when you give that, you create a bond that logic alone cannot create. Now let us talk about influence, because influence is what most people misunderstand. Influence is not manipulation. Influence is connection. Real influence comes from understanding emotions, because as you already know, people decide based on feelings, not facts. They feel first, then justify with logic. So if you want to influence someone, you must understand what they are feeling. Fear, doubt, excitement, insecurity. Without understanding this, you cannot connect. And without connection, influence is impossible. So the strategy is simple but powerful. Observe, understand emotions, connect, then communicate. When you connect first, people become open. They lower their defenses. They listen. And only then your words have impact. Remember this. People do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. Once they feel that you understand them, they start trusting you. And that is when influence begins. Social power does not come from being loud. It does not come from showing off intelligence. It comes from emotional connection. The deeper the connection, the stronger the influence. That is why some people do not speak much but still have strong presence, because they make others feel understood, and that is powerful. Now here is the final truth. None of this matters if you do not practice. Knowledge alone will not change your life. Execution will. You can read, watch, learn, but if you do not apply, nothing changes. These skills are not built overnight. They require daily effort, daily awareness, daily discipline. So if you truly want to become mentally strong and socially powerful, you must practice 3 things every day. Observe people, control your reactions, and improve your communication. Every interaction is a lesson. Every person is a case study. Every emotion is an opportunity to grow. You will fail at first. You will react again. You will make mistakes, and that is normal. Growth is uncomfortable. Change is painful. But those who accept discomfort move forward. Those who avoid it stay stuck. So the choice is yours. Stay average or become powerful. Remember, consistency beats intensity. Small daily actions create big changes over time. Commit to observing more, reacting less, understanding deeper, and improving daily. Slowly, your mind will become sharper, your confidence will increase, your presence will become stronger. People will notice your patience, your control, your clarity. They will respect you, they will listen to you, and they will not ignore you, because you are no longer average. You are trained, and that is real transformation, not overnight, but step by step, until one day you become the person you once admired, and it all starts with one decision. Control your emotions, because real power is not in muscles, it is in the mind. And once you master your mind, you master your life.